we're pointing at the camera, seeing how nice it looks as it is, but we're here. Casey Matthews, Purdue's most recent NCAA champion. As I said off the air, accomplished long before her national championship, but now you got that to your name. Congratulations and welcome to the show. And Stacey Clarity obviously joins us for segment 2, and then we'll bring Brian and Stacey back to talk about football when we get back there. But Stacey, what an unbelievable experience!
Or Casey. I knew you were going to do that. I'm like,
Casey.
Yes, it was. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're an excellent diver, Casey. In terms of that, though, just the ability to have have that workout. Your road at Purdue was a long one. I mean, and to be able to get to where you got to, and you've been here for a while, and then to have this all come to fruition had to be an unbelievable experience.
It was. It really was. This weekend, it seems like a whirlwind of emotions and such a blur at the same time, but it was so exciting.
Yeah, and the opportunity to compete at that level and be, all that preparation and all that time goes into it. What's it like when it all comes to pass, and maybe not all your dreams, but a lot of your dreams come true this past weekend?
Well, it's like that saying, like you hear people say hard work pays off, but I never really got to experience that, I feel like, until this past weekend. And so that was something really special to me, was that I could really experience firsthand what it was like to really reflect and be like, yeah, like all my hard work did pay off, and all my time and my effort and rehabbing my shoulder and my ankle, it just all paid off, and I just couldn't be happier with the outcome.
You had been to the NCAA championships before, right? 5th place?
Yes.
Is that right?
In 2010. So
Which
it's been
probably
2 years.
seems like forever ago.
It does. It really does seem like so long ago. But yeah, it's been 2 years since I competed last.
To have that experience, I guess, did that help you at all, or had you just been through so much in between that it didn't seem like there was a correlation?
I definitely think being at the big stage 2 years ago at NCAA's really did help me come in this year kind of with an ease of mind, really like a clear mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot easier to compete, I found. I was way more relaxed, and just knowing that I've done this before, I've competed with these group of girls before,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really nothing new, so that was definitely helpful.
Growing up, and were you a gymnast growing up? I know I've got a daughter that swims, but has friends that are divers. A lot of them grow up being accomplished gymnast or starting that route. But how do you get into diving? How did you get into diving?
I was a gymnast before. I was actually a swimmer before I was a gymnast. And then I started doing gymnastics and diving simultaneously, and then my parents told me I had to choose between one or the other.
Smart parents.
And I chose diving. I chose the route of diving, and yeah, it's been a great journey.
And you were young, right?
I was young. I was about 8 years old when I started.
Dang.
What was the thought? For an 8-year-old, but what went through your mind of why you would pick diving over gymnastics? Because it's at that time, as an 8-year-old, especially in 15 years ago, that would have been something that gymnastics is still a big hot topic, hot sport, but that'd be a tough thing to turn down at that age.
Right. I think I just got bored, to be honest.
Yeah.
8 years old, you want to try as many different things as you want. And so I told my parents I thought diving was really cool. I remember watching the divers jump off the diving board, and I was like, yeah, I want to try that. I want to give it a shot. And so they signed me up with the club program back in Buffalo, my hometown. Yeah. And that's where I began.
Is there fear? Do you always have fear when you get? I know Dave Budaya has talked about that too. Does it take you a while to get over that, or are you just one of those kids who's like, oh yeah, let's do it, let's jump off?
Yeah, I guess when you look at it from like a springboard standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
because there's springboard and there's platform, the towers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't as nervous for springboard, but especially when I started diving tower, that fear comes back, and you're scared to try new things. And
makes me scared just to watch it.
Yeah, there's definitely fear involved. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't. So.
And you had to make the change. Is that due to injury from getting off the platform and going to 3 meter? Correct. And
Correct.
And because of your shoulder, or what was it? And what was? The impact is amazing from the platform, but even at 3 meter, you've got to. Yes, you're going into water, but that beats up your body.
Yeah, absolutely. I had 2 shoulder surgeries on the same shoulder, and I actually was from the same dive that I was competing off 10 meter, unfortunately. And so after the second tear in my labrum, my coach decided to call it quits, and we're going to adjust a 3 meter springboard and come back strong in that event. And that's ultimately the decision that we made. And it was a good one, I think, because it's hard after so many surgeries and and so much impact from diving from that high up that your shoulder really takes a toll. Your body in general actually takes a tough beating. So I think it was the right decision to come this far, at least.
I think based on the results, it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Was there a moment though after you're going through? I'm guessing the rehab of that surgery is not fun.
No,
I mean
it's
to
not.
think like, okay, this is ridiculous. This happened twice. I'm done. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like what stopped you from saying you were done?
Well, it's a long rehab process. It's a 6-month-long rehab process, and
Sheesh.
I only have 1 year of eligibility left coming up this year. So we just decided to play it safe, kind of, and just not risk getting injured again, and to just come back strong on 3-meter. And I think it's a great decision. I miss it sometimes, but I really enjoy springboard, so I think it was the right decision to make.
Academically, because you've been on the road, how did you balance that? Have you already got a couple master's degrees done, or?
Because you're going to be 23.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm maybe 23 in August.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, in terms of that, how did you manage that? Even like taking off last year and doing what you had to do there, how did that work for you?
Well, I took an Olympic red shirt the year of 2012, so I just decided to focus strictly on diving and take a little bit of time off of focusing on academics and put diving first for once. And so I only took a couple of classes each semester. So I'm actually just finishing out my undergrad in this next year, and I'm adding another minor to my major. And yeah, I guess I'm just finishing out undergrad in 6 years, just taking it nice and slow.
That's all right. I mean, it's not like you haven't been doing anything over that period of time. You know, you look at the impact of a David Bodiah and his success, and what did that, you know, what did that do for the whole program, just to have somebody have that success, and then you, on the tails of that, you know, you have the success that you've had?
Right. Training with David has been awesome. He's a great inspirational figure, and he's just been so encouraging and supportive. Training with him over the last 5 years, and he's still actually practicing with us now. So he's just awesome. He tries to encourage me, and he's a great supporter of just helping me be the best athlete I can be on and off the pool deck, and he's a great teammate. So it's really special to be able to train with him still.
So has it sunk in? Where do you have the trophy first off? Can you get to keep it, right?
Right, I have it. Yeah, it's back at home.
Is it like displayed somewhere?
Yeah, I mean,
like on the coffee table in the middle of the living room?
It's sitting on my desk in my bedroom, but yeah, it's really nice.
So it's sinking in now that I'm an NCAA champion. I mean,
I think it's finally starting to sink in.
Yeah.
It took a while, but it's finally sinking in. All the notoriety has been great, and I couldn't have come this far without my amazing support system, and I have a lot of people to thank for where I am today.
was your family able to? Are they still in New York then? Were they able to come?
They were
for
able to come watch the
cool.
championship. So yeah, it was really special to have them there.
Yeah, and have that opportunity and have it all come to pass is a neat thing. What you know, you look at that and you look what's next for you in terms of, you know, obviously you want to finish your academic work, but do you have dreams of competing back again on an international stage, and what do you want to get done here from a diving standpoint here in the next 2 to 4 years?
I think, you know, after championship season, my shoulder is actually not as great as I had hoped it would be. So I think we're going to really focus on rehab the next couple of weeks and over the summer, and really try to get back 100%, really focus on strengthening that again, and then just get ready for next season.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
It's never going to go away.
I don't know.
Holy cow, 2 surgeries.
I know. I don't know
Jeez.
what it's going to take, but, you know, diving's a tough impact sport.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's the
Wow.
thing that's amazing. I don't know how you do that and be able to be as precise as you have to be if you have some amount of pain in your while you're doing your dive. I mean, that has to take a lot of concentration.
It does, and the adrenaline helps. It totally does. You know, like during competition, I actually don't really feel anything in my shoulder because I'm just so focused and I have the adrenaline rush. But afterwards is when the pain sets in, and then I need treatment and massage therapy and all of that good stuff. So I have a lot of people to thank for helping me get it back 100%.
You had mentioned kind of notoriety, and Twitter obviously automatically kind of goes. Have you seen an increase in Twitter followers or anything?
Yeah, the support was amazing.
Really?
It was like overwhelming love from all kinds of people I didn't even know, friends and family and teammates and my coaches and the athletic staff. So it was really cool.
Favorite tweet, obviously, we need to talk about.
With Morgan.
You put it up there, so
sorry, Morgan.
You
We
opened
put
the
it
door.
in our magazine
Yeah.
this week, so I want you
We
to know
did.
that. But it's
Yeah.
okay.
So
It was
just, I
good,
guess,
though.
tell
It's
people
cute.
the story, so if
Well,
they don't know.
I had a lot of people coming in, texting my phone, and people calling, leaving voicemails, and people that I didn't really know too.
Mm-hmm.
And so automatically, I think when I get a text that says, you know, like, great work, great hard work, you deserve this, the best is yet to come, and it was just signed Morgan. So I'm thinking, well, I don't know a lot of guys named Morgan, so it's got to be a girl that just my friend Morgan I hadn't talked to in a while, and so, you know, I wrote back, thanks, girl, with a bunch of exclamation points, and he responded with, this is your AD, but you're welcome. And I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry, Morgan, but it was
Who happens
funny.
to really
It was
like
funny.
swimming and diving?
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that is a great story. Talk about when you made your decision to come to Purdue. Was diving the sole reason? We had a question from Billy on was that the sole thing that brought you to Purdue? I mean, obviously coming from New York, and I know Purdue is the Harvard of the Midwest because I have a Purdue graduate, so is Brian. Northern Illinois is too.
Thank
It's
you.
The, it's the
Yeah,
Harvard,
see, I'm always the
it's
other
the Harvard
one.
of Northern
Oh, yeah.
Illinois. Tell me how
That's
how
not
did
even
you get
true.
here in terms of that standpoint.
I had no idea what I wanted to excel in academically. So when I was looking at schools and taking my recruiting trips, it was solely focused on from a diving standpoint. You know,
Okay.
like who had the best facility, the best coaches, the best team atmosphere, and I was really looking at things like that. So it came down to Auburn and Purdue actually, and it came down to Adam and Jeff Schaefer, who
Yeah.
is the head diving coach at Auburn, and I listed out pros and cons. It wasn't an easy decision, and then ultimately I chose Purdue, and I don't regret that decision at all. I mean, it's been great.
And you've spoken really highly about Adam, obviously, just the
Yeah.
relationship that you guys have and
Yeah.
the impact he's had on
Yeah,
you being able to get here.
Yeah, I attribute so much of my success to this day to Adam. He's been a great mentor, a great coach, a great just individual all around. He helps me be the best athlete in and out of the pool every day, and we have a really fun relationship, and he's always been like my number one support aside from my family. He's never doubted me, and he's been great.
How does he push you? And I don't know, maybe this isn't him, but I would guess the training is really extensive, and like you said, it's a lot of work, and you're sore, and you taper, and you can do all those different things to prepare you. But when you're having a really tough day and you don't want to be there, will he say something funny, or like how do you, I guess, kind of lighten the mood or get through a day that's really difficult? Which I'm sure you've had a lot just coming back from the surgery.
Yeah, absolutely. With 3 surgeries to date, there's been a lot of ups and downs, and of course, there's days where I come in and I'm too sore to practice, and he's been great with just saying, like maybe we need a couple of days off. So that's okay. Like you can go get treatment, go to Mackey and see your trainers, or take as much time as you need, because there's been tons of people in and out of our program that have dealt with surgeries. I'm certainly not the first. So he's been really, really patient and just an all-around great coach about as far as injuries come. He's really, really patient, and yeah.
The technology of all this, because obviously a coach can't tell you. I mean, he can't necessarily show you what you need to be doing, but he can show you from a video standpoint, from how you break down what you're not doing. And I know you guys go and look at. I don't know if it's every dive, but you go back and evaluate it to try to figure out what the heck you're doing. But how does the visual of looking at it? How do you tell your body what to do differently? And if you know that, you might be able to make a few $1 million. You can tell everybody that, franchise that thought.
Yeah, we have something called TiVo. I don't know if everyone is affiliated with it, but it replays your dive for you. So you can go back and slow-mo it and just see, what kind of corrections you need to make, what kind of mistakes you did make.
Do you do it after every dive?
Every dive.
Okay.
Every dive, yep. And it's really, really helpful, especially when Adam's not able to be here, because we don't have an assistant coach. So when he's, traveling with the men's team at Big Tens and NCAAs, TiVo is like our like main coach back at the pool when he's not there. And so it's really, really helpful, going back and looking at your dives, and it helps you visually and mentally prepare for dives that you haven't learned yet. And so it's a great advice that we use. It's a great device that we use every day in the pool.
Yeah, unbelievable. It's just and being able to put that all together. So when you go back and you tell your family about the experience, what's the one thing that and your friends the one moment that you take from that whole experience of winning a national championship that resonates, that you're still thinking about maybe every hour at this point?
It was definitely the moment that I turned around and saw my name at the top of the leaderboard. That was really surreal for me because I don't watch where I am throughout the competition. I never pay attention to results because I don't want it to mess with my mental focus. And so I had no idea going into my last dive that I had a chance of winning the title.
Wow.
So I turned around and I was in just an absolute shock, amazement. There was just like so many emotions that I was feeling, and I just remember running up and hugging my teammate Michelle and Adam, and it was just that moment I don't think will ever leave me.
You don't look ever?
No, I never pay attention.
Wow. Is that common?
That would be
It
hard.
is common. It's very common.
David Budaya talked a little bit about that, and not really knowing where he was necessarily. But how do you? It's
would
all about
not
the
be able to
focus.
look.
It is, yeah. And something that really resonates, I think, throughout our team is the fact that Adam always preaches, always focus on the things that you can control,
Right.
because if you don't, then they will adversely affect the things that you can't control. And so, looking at results doesn't do anything but let you know, you see people in front of you and you're like, well, I hope I can beat them, or, I
Right.
hope they mess up, but you
Right.
can't control those things.
Right.
And so by looking at the results board for me, just that doesn't really help me in any way. It doesn't help my focus anyway, so just one dive at a time.
So you just knew that day, I think I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Basically, right?
I
I mean-
felt on, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt focused, I felt ready, I was confident, and yeah, I just had a good feeling about it.
When you're done with this career, first I want to hire you, but second, what do you want to do? I mean, we use that focus, use that ability to pare down take a project and be able to focus like that. You're going to be a very marketable person. But what do you see yourself doing outside of still being an athlete in your 30s and 40s? What do you want to do?
I definitely want to stay in the sports industry. I haven't decided which way I want to sway up, if it's going to be marketing or public relations, but I definitely want to stay in the sports industry. I love being around athletes and the whole entertainment and the social side of sports. So it's something I definitely want to pursue after I'm done.
Oh, great.
2016 Olympics.
I don't think that's something I'm going to pursue, only because I've been here a long time. My journey's been great. I love this sport more than anything, but I got to get my life moving a little bit, start building my resume, and move on after I'm done. So
We have internships. I'm telling you
Yeah.
right now. No, really. What an amazing accomplishment. I take great, again, I'll use my own personal situation. I have a daughter that's swimming. I don't know any swimmers and divers that aren't focused. Is that a fair statement? And at least, especially on the female side, it's just amazing the effort and focus it takes to get that done. Is that a broad stroke statement that it's a tremendously focused group?
I think it's a very fair statement. I think a lot of the girls and our whole team really is very focused. This is an individual sport when it comes to competing individually for ourselves, and I think that really plays off in competition. I think it's really important for anyone to have really clear mental focus in this sport, definitely.
All right. Well, Casey, thank you so much for your time. And
Thank you.
It's good. At least it's good for me. I'll speak for myself to be in the presence of greatness. And we are every day with Stacy and Brian, but I get another shot of it today, so I feel lucky. So again, congratulations and thank you for joining us and taking the time to do that. We'll be back in a couple of minutes, and we'll bring Stacy and Brian back. We'll talk a little spring football, as we promised we would do in segment 1. We didn't get to, but we'll do that and be back for segment 3 on Gold and Black Live.
Going to the Purdue game? Stay at Hilton Garden Inn, West Lafayette at the Wabash Landing. Your family will love the well-appointed guest rooms, the pool, whirlpool, fitness center, the breakfast buffet, and the amazing Hilton Garden Inn staff. Located just 4 blocks from Purdue University, Hilton Garden Inn has long been the choice for Purdue fans. Call today for a reservation and make Hilton Garden Inn your #1 choice.
Check out the Purdue collection now at Follett's. Boiler up with Nike Fantastic T-shirts, League and Champion fashion colors. Simply fabulous, simply Follett's. Purdue pride everywhere on game day. Nike sideline, worn by the team, by the players, and by you. And make every day game day with tailgate toss. Follett's, Purdue pride, a Purdue tradition, 17 game day locations.
Good driver? We've got a discount for that and a lot more. See State Farm agent Trent Johnson to make sure you get all the discounts you deserve on your car insurance. Saving you money? It's just part of being there. Call or visit Trent today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Segment 3, Golden Black Live. Brian Newbert joins us and Stacy Clarity. We are going to talk a little football. The Boilermakers have practice this afternoon, correct?
Yes.
And which means you're all invited.
It's outside.
It's a beautiful day here. As I say every show, I think we talk about the weather. But Brian and Stacy, obviously, spent a lot of time in the Molenkoff this week, and it'll be nice to be outside, obviously, and in Beimel Field and at that location, I assume. But talk, Stacy, your impressions to date in spring practice, and maybe that's a little too open-ended, but what are we seeing?
Did we talk about that last week? Did we have a show last week?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's been a week.
I know. I'm trying to think of to not say the same thing that I said last week. I continually am impressed with the coaching staff, and again, we keep reiterating this. We didn't have very much access before, so we can't really make comparisons here. I know everybody wants us to, and everybody's asking about that. But I'm just really impressed with the way they, and each of them has a different style, obviously, but the way they get their point across. I mean, even if it's a guy like Reuben Carter, who seems like maybe he's not as much of I don't want to say yeller necessarily, but in the times I've watched him, he seems like he's a little more laid back maybe than some of the other guys. But you watch Jim Bridge, the offensive line coach, holy cow. It's really fun because he's funny when he gets on them, you know, like he's talking about like Dancing with the Stars and like all these just odd references. And but he gets on them and he makes fun of them when they don't do well. But I think that motivates the guys. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a demeaning thing. He just wants a lot out of them, and when they don't get, when he doesn't get that from them, he makes sure they know. And Marcus Freeman's the same way. I mean, we could really just kind of go down the list there, but it's just been really enjoyable for me personally to be able to go there and actually watch them teach and listen to how they teach. I think that's probably what I've liked the most. Obviously, you get to see the players and personnel and those kind of things, and that's really helpful to us too. But I think I just really enjoyed this first week and a half of being able to really watch the assistant coaches kind of go about it.
Yeah.
I'll just reiterate what I said last week about it. It's going to be so nice having a better idea that what we're writing is true.
Yeah.
I mean, when we get to see it with our own eyes, it makes it so much easier to, formulate opinions. They may not be the most football educated opinions sometimes, but there are opinions nonetheless. When we're told so and so is doing really well in practice, at least we will have seen it now. So that's going to give us a better sense for what Purdue has on its hands here in a couple months. I'll just reiterate what Stacy said. I just think this staff is just very, very impressive with their professionalism, their ability to motivate, their personalities. Marcus Freeman, Jafar Williams, some of the most impressive guys I've seen coaching at Purdue, and they're relatively young coaches. Jim Bridge, she mentioned before, he's a real fireball. There is a "don't cross bridge" joke in there somewhere, yeah, he's been an impressive guy in the practice field. Obviously, the coordinators are very proven guys. I mean, you can tell in the practice field, John Shoup knows football inside and out, and he seems to have a very uniquely simple way of communicating that to his players. I mean, he knows a ton, but sometimes that sort of breadth of knowledge is your worst enemy when you're a coach, because it's very difficult to translate it to your players. I remember Phil Elmation. That guy knew literally everything about football, about secondary play, but he would just go coach guys like the Tasmanian Devil in the cartoon. He'd be spinning like a top and slobbering all over the place, and you could just kind of tell the players are like, what? Yeah. But it just seems like this coaching staff, I think I was originally talking about John Shoup, has this way of just kind of communicating complicated matters very simply.
Yeah. I was impressed even on Monday when I was there about Jim Haycock and the whole they have expectations, and again, all assistant coaches do. But they put it in the way he put his answers of not that we have a lot, being very honest about how much work they have to do and what the expectation level was going to be and what it was going to take to meet that, and also kind of being honest about saying, I'm not sure we can meet it just yet.
Yeah.
That's I thought it was interesting.
Just sort of going back to the coaching staff, I guess what I was trying to say before, or what I neglected to say earlier, is just the standard being set is very, very clear. It's you're going to be good whether you like it or not, that sort of thing. I'm not saying that wasn't the case in the past, but the expectation level of these guys has been set very, very high, and that's obviously what you want it to be. So it's just a matter now of getting to the players to the point where they can approach it.
Stacy going to kind of hybrid the question from Billy's been asking questions like crazy today, and they've been good ones. But the fact that fans are there, and from your perspective, I mean, you're very busy taking notes, and this is obviously your job when you're talking and watching practice. Has having fans there been any positive or negative from a media coverage standpoint, but also are as many people showing up as they have been or has been early on in the start of spring drills?
I'm really bad at kind of guessing those numbers. I think, there have been probably 20 people at least, I would guess, at least to start practices, and then it kind of tails off a little bit because most people aren't staying for the full 2 hours or whatever it is. I guess the question says, are there more media than normal? That would be false.
Yeah.
It's still the same kind of tight group. The very first day when Daryl Hazel spoke, there were a lot of people, but since then it's kind of the core group, of local reporters and kind of stragglers coming in or whatever. But I do know that some of the players have said that it matters to kind of be accountable in some way, even if it is only 20 people or 30 people, that it does make a difference. And Normando Harris told me this week that it's fun. And you have the music going, and you have people watching you, and you feel like there's something at stake. And again, we always you want to say, not that there wasn't, like last year, or we keep having everything we say, we keep having to come back to be like, we're not comparing, or we're and which I kind of want to be done with, but because the players are doing it too, and it's blowing up. Obviously, I had posted something on the message board this week from Robert Gregory, and everybody was freaking out about it, and it's like, which I quickly continuing to learn it happens
I'm biased, so
all the time.
Don't look at me.
But it's we're hearing this consistently. We're not making it up. I mean, we're not asking these kids to say, hey, was it horrible before and now it's fantastic? I mean, they're saying things on their own unprompted, and so that to me means it matters and it is different. So Normando had said it wasn't. He said it wasn't not fun last year. It wasn't boring, but it felt like work. And now it feels like fun. I don't want to miss practice. And he's one of the guys who has a class conflict. And so it's been kind of tough for him to miss. And that's what he said. I don't want to miss practice. It's fun to be out there. And part of that is with the fans.
Well, and I also think that it's nothing is hotter than new love, so to speak. And the fact that you have, there was pressure last year.
It's a little creepy.
Yeah, no, but I mean, a new experience,
what you're saying.
a new deal where you
Right.
have last year going into the year, those kids, they knew that there was pressure to get it done. There's pressure now, but it's different, and you're starting over again, and with a fresh group. And I think that has a factor, plays a factor in this whole thing. Brian, you've watched. Obviously, everyone wants to talk about the quarterbacks and what you see there. They have several of them, and yet certainly Austin Appleby and Rob Henry, Danny Etling. I don't know if it's fair to say that those are the three leaders in the clubhouse.
Yes, it is.
Below Marshall.
It is fair.
It is
No.
fair to say that. Your impressions.
It's so
I'll
hard.
let
It's so
Alexis-
hard to tell at this point. I think they're rotating guys in and out of the primary roles. I think right now they're just kind of taking stock of what they have at that position. Obviously, these guys are learning a new offense, so a lot of this is going to be who can pick up this offense the fastest. When you look at a skill set standpoint, personally, I've always been very impressed by Austin Appleby, just because he looks the part for this style of offense. I mean, Purdue wants to run a physical running game. They want to drop back. They want to run play action. They want to throw the ball down the field. Appleby's 6'5", has a really good arm. Cognitively, he's really accelerated for a redshirt freshman. He's going to work as hard as you can possibly work. That said, I've always really liked Rob Henry. He's obviously a great athlete. I just wonder about the fit in that style of offense. Right now, I would probably lean toward Austin Appleby, but I have no idea what they're saying up in their offices.
Yeah. Good question, dear.
Can I comment
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
you can.
quarterback?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
I think that's interesting because I would have agreed with Brian to start to going into spring ball saying I think it's Austin Appleby's job to lose because of all of those things he just mentioned. Watching Rob Henry this spring, I am honestly been surprised at the skill level he's showing from a passing perspective because I've always seen him as the wildcat guy, kind of like what everybody has, the athletic guy who doesn't have a very good arm, his form's not very good, and you just kind of shoot it out of there kind of a thing. I think he's been a lot more accurate than I expected. He seems to have more zip on the ball than I thought he would. He's completing, and I try to track this. You obviously can't watch everything, but he's completing passes at a relatively high rate. And so I've been surprised by that. And like we've talked about before, and like Brian kind of mentioned, the one thing we can't measure really is how they're grasping the offense and if they're doing what the coaches want them to do. I mean, there are drills where you can see, somebody playing the defensive backs when they're not actually in teamwork, and kind of going over here, and the guy has to make the next progression. And in those kind of drills, they seem like they're both doing that. So it's just really interesting to watch because I really did think that Austin Appleby was going to be the guy that just kind of separated himself in the spring. And in my view, and like we talked about, we don't kind of know the other side of that, the team meeting kind of room side, but I really think that Rob Henry is right there right now. And he is getting he's getting the first reps with the ones. They are rotating them, but when they go to 7-on-7s at the end of practice or 11-on-11, he's the first guy that's going out there. So I would assume that means he's still number one on the depth chart.
Okay, another question from Billy, but one that I think is interesting about just in terms of how they're handling post-practice and talking to the media. A lot of the videos and articles that have come out recently, there is no Darrell Hazel. What is his role during practices? Does he hover between groups, just oversee things? And you guys can both comment.
Yeah, he hasn't been speaking to us. At least on the record officially, obviously he says hello, but he set the schedule for the media interviews. So we spoke with him the first day. We don't get to talk to him again until the 6th, which is their scrimmage, and then we'll get him again after the spring game. So, but we're getting assistant coaches pretty much every other day. So I think he really wanted to kind of get the assistant coaches out there and kind of give them exposure. But in terms of what he does in practice, yeah, he goes everywhere. I mean, he roams, and I think I had him on one video where I was recording, I think it was defensive linemen, with Hudson kind of on the sled, and he came over and watched, and I'm like, oh, hey, there he is, So he really kind of bounces around. He doesn't say very much.
Yeah.
He's quiet. I mean, you guys, I'm sure, have been able to tell by watching the interviews. He's mostly a kind of a quiet guy. I did note in one analysis piece that I heard him raise his voice just because it was so shocking, and it was like, I don't care. And I'm like, wow, was that Darrell Hazel that just yelled? So I still think he's going to tend to be more offensive minded because that's just what his background is. But yeah, he roams.
Yeah, he's kind of like a little bit of a ghost out there. He just kind of pops up here, pops up there. You really don't hear him speak very much. He's not that loud presence that so many head coaches are. He's not a screamer. He's not a yeller. But he's the type where, when he does do one of those things, it's out of the ordinary. So when it's out of the ordinary, it probably has a little bit more of an impact. In terms of what he does during practice, Stacy just covered it. It does seem to me like there's a special place in his heart for special teams, too. He does seem to, I don't know, maybe I'm imagining this, but he does seem to perk up a little bit when they're doing these special teams drills. So he's gonna have a blast today at their kicking scrimmage.
All right. Okay. Well, we need to cut this off only because they've got other business to handle here at News Channel 18. But we also appreciate the fact that Stacy and Brian brought us up to date on football. Okay. Just our thank yous, obviously, to Casey Matthews and obviously Stacy and Brian for joining us, to Lydia and Gordon Jackson, Kim Caldwell, and all the folks at News Channel 18. We will be back in 3 weeks, guests to be determined, which sometimes is the case 24 hours before the show starts. But
Possibly DJ Bird.
What's that? We will have DJ Bird.
We thought we were going to have him today, obviously.
But we will have DJ, and we're also going to try to get a couple of assistant coaches or somebody from football to discuss spring game. But that'll be 3 weeks from now, our last show of the year. We also want to thank our sponsors, Trent Johnson at TrentIsMyAgent.com and Follett's Purdue Pride, a Purdue game day tradition since 1945, and Hilton Garden Inn. Christy Kuntz and the gang down there do a great job. And when tomorrow's a big day, stay at HDI tonight. Have a good holiday weekend. Enjoy your NCAA basketball. If you can get out to spring practice, by all means do so. And the weather is finally warming up, so we'll look forward to watching football outside today, which will be a new and different experience. All right, have a great week. We'll see you in 3 weeks on Gold and Black Live.